Yes. So in this lecture, we are supposed to discuss about various drainage patterns. Okay. So this is completely based on hydrogeology topics. So this is a small topic, that is drainage patterns. Okay. So this is actually a main portion which is usually asking for various competitive exams. So why? Because morphometrical study is very important, as well as for geomorphology is also important. So this drainage patterns and drainages we are using for hydrogeology as well as this geomorphology. So this topic is very important for various exams. Okay. Okay. So drainage patterns. So first of all, let me introduce what is a drainage. A drainage, it is nothing but a proper channel where the water flows. So we can say that the flow of water in a particular channel is termed as a drainage. Then what is a drainage network? You'll be confused. What is a drainage network? A drainage network is also nothing but when it is combined of various channels. If numerous channels combines to form a drainage network. Okay. Then it arises the drainage patterns. What happens patterns? It is nothing but various flow of water in various terrains will result in various patterns, which is termed as drainage pattern. Okay, so this will be the introduction for what is a drainage, what is a drainage network, then what is a drainage pattern, and why we should know all these drainage patterns. Okay, now let's move to the first slide. Yes, here you can see an image which will gives you complete idea about a basin, about drainage patterns, and also various confluences. Okay, now let us define what is a drainage pattern. A drainage pattern, it is nothing but which is formed by either streams or rivers or lakes or whatever the water flow or the water movement, whatever it may be. That is known as a drainage pattern. Okay. Now, what is the result or how this particular pattern is being created for the movement of this water? Okay, as we know, this drainage pattern, it is an underground feature. Even though we are describing it in a peculiar way, we should have to know how this pattern is being created. It is nothing but when the stream erosion takes place. So when the stream erosion takes place over a particular time period, what will happen? The particular rock, especially the geologic structures or landscapes, will be drained by the streams. It will be drained by the streams in a distinguishable manner. So finally, this draining of these landscapes or the rocks, what will happen? Gradually, there will be a kind of pattern which results in the flow of water. This is the product, or this process will give rise to various drainage patterns. Okay, so this is how the basic introduction as well as the basic definition, what is a drainage pattern. Then now we should know about what is a drainage basin. Now here you can see in the first image, you can see a dotted lines here. This is what we call it as a drainage basin. And how we can call this as a drainage basin? It is nothing but the area. You can see here the area is surrounded by various divides. Here you can see the water is coming to this. This is the main stream. This blue color is the main stream, which is from a mountain to, this is maybe an ocean, sea, or whatever it is. The water is from a mountain. Okay, so now we consider the water is moving like this to this sea. Then here you can see various tributaries, various small tributaries joining this main stream. Yes, when the land area is surrounded by various divides which contributes the water to a river is called a drainage basin. So now you see this complete area, this dotted lines, this complete area is termed as a drainage basin, whereas there are numerous tributaries which is connected to the main river which serves water to that particular river. That is what we call it as a drainage basin. Okay. Then, as I have already told you, geomorphologists and hydrogeologists often view streams as being part of drainage basin. Already said, Then drainage basins are divided from each other by topographic barriers called watershed. Now we need to know what is a watershed. Watershed, it is nothing but there may be some ridges or some topographic barriers which restrict the flow of water from a particular area to a particular area. Now here you can see this dotted lines. This is actually an end point. So this area can be considered as a watershed. Why? Because the flow of water, you can see the flow of water is restricted to this area. Okay. The flow of water, it is only concentrated inside this area, whereas the flow of water is not concentrated outside this area. That is what we call it as a watershed. That is nothing but drainage basins are divided from each other with some topographic barriers or some ridges. These topographic barriers or ridges are known as watershed. So within this watershed or within this basin only, what is there? The divides or the contributes water to river. Okay, so that is first is drainage basin and the next is drainage pattern. Okay. Yes, now I think we can move to the slide. Now the foremost important thing when we study about drainage pattern is that what are the various types of drainage pattern. Okay, it is the main thing that we need to know about. What are the main types of drainage patterns? So here you can see there are 5 types of drainage patterns depicted here. These are the very important types of drainage pattern. Okay, and here there are diagrammatic representation for all these things, whereas you can easily understand how each pattern will be different from one other. Okay, and also if you remember this diagram, you can easily find out the characteristics of various drainage patterns without learning all these things by heart. Okay, so try to understand these images and try to remember the things about the particular drainage pattern, so it will be very easy and very useful for you. Alright. So the first type is dendritic pattern. So this is what the dendritic pattern means. You can simply see at a rooted structure. So it's branches like branches of a tree. We can simply say that it will be like a branches of a tree. So simply you can just think something like that, and you have to keep in mind, yes, dendritic pattern, it is just like the branching of a tree. Then what is the other specialty of dendritic pattern is that it is very common in almost all the terrains. That is, whatever the area we are choosing to study the drainage pattern or the drainage morphometry, what will happen? This dendritic pattern will be obviously there. So it is the very most common type of drainage patterns which we can observe in almost all the areas. So it is very important. Okay. Now the second type of drainage pattern here you can see is that rectangular. This rectangular drainage pattern, as we have said that various geologic features, when these rocks or geologic features are drained by the streams, only these drainage patterns occurs. So here what is the thing is that if the terrain, you consider a terrain, if the terrain is mainly consisting of various geologic features, especially structural features. So I hope you guys know about various structural features. It is nothing but various fault, joints, unconformities, then various tilting of beds. All these are considered as various structural features. Okay. So now you consider if a bed is actually having various structural features or is prominent in structural features, what will happen? All these joints will be filled with water, which result in a flow of water through the spaces, which results in rectangular drainage pattern. Okay, so the main thing that you need to keep in mind is that rectangular drainage pattern, it is observed. Here you can see in the figure it is joints. You can see various joints here. So joint is a structural feature. So like that it may be a fold, joints, inconformities, tiltations, whatever it may be, such terrains will be responsible for rectangular drainage pattern. Okay, now moving to trellis pattern. So trellis pattern here It is mainly occur, this trellis pattern mainly occurs in an alternating bed. Alternating bed in the sense, as we know, there are various types of rocks present. There will be some hard rocks present, there will be some soft rocks present. In some rocks you can observe a single layer of hard rock, then another one is a single layer of soft rock, again another layer of hard rock, then again another layer of soft rock, like that. It will be an intermediate of hard and soft materials. Such rocks, here you can see, this is the brown colored portion. In between this green colored portion, it is the resistant ridge. Resistant ridge in the sense it is hard rock. It is hard rock, whereas this green colored thing, it is very soft rock. Why? Because it permits the movement of water. It permits the movement of water through this particular river, whereas in this hard rocks you cannot find any tributaries. So this kind of pattern formed in this soft rock, in this intermediate composition of rock, it is known as trellis pattern. Okay, now next is volcano. Volcano, this is example for radial pattern, that is from a common point it is radiating towards various points. That is, here you can see the vent of the volcano. From this vent of the volcano, this is being separated to various directions. You can see that is radiating. It will be radiating from a common center. That is known as radiating drainage patterns. Okay. Now next is parallel. Parallel, it is nothing but here you can see various parallel. That is, one line will be parallel to the other one. If a terrain is having parallel structure, if it is already parallel, then what will happen? The flow of water also will be parallel in that particular terrain. Such terrains will show parallel drainage patterns. Okay, so these are the main 5 types of drainage patterns. I repeat: dendritic drainage pattern, rectangular drainage pattern, here you can see, then here you can see the trellis drainage pattern, then radial drainage pattern, and finally parallel drainage pattern. Okay, so keep these images in mind and try to understand various types of drainages. Now let's describe about each of one. Okay, now let's see about the various characteristics of each of these drainage patterns. So first one, it is dendritic pattern. So here you can see the image of a dendritic pattern. That is, now here you can see the direction. Yeah, this is various tributaries for this dendritic pattern. So here you can see oblique tributaries, here you can see insequent tributaries, and here you can see consequent. So all these tributaries will be joining to the particular river. Okay. Then now we need to know what is the speciality of this dendritic pattern. So as we have already said, it is just like a branching tree structure. Okay, this is a branching tree structure. Then in the structure you can see the arrow mark, it is marked like this. So water will be supplied to the main stream by these tributaries, and water is flowing in this direction. Okay, the movement of water will be in this particular direction. That's why the arrow mark is given like this. Okay, now this dendritic pattern, it is developed in areas where the rock, that is unconsolidated material, in the sense it will be maybe boulders, pebbles or cobbles, something like that. So it won't be more compact, it will be very loose materials beneath the stream which has no particular structure. Yeah, since the material is not consolidated, it may not have a particular structure, and also erosion also will be in all direction. So why erosion will be in all direction? Because it is not a compacted material. If the materials present is very compact, what will happen? This erosion also may have changed. In various places it will be different. Here what the thing is that the area, if it is dendritic pattern, means usually the area will have an unconsolidated material. So what will happen? This erosion also will be easily done in all directions. Okay. Now as we have already said, this drainage pattern, this streams shows a branching tree like arrangement. Simply we can remember that it will be a branching like the tree. Next is, this pattern develops in terrains covered with uniform rock type. This will be a uniform rock type. If the area is having a uniform rock type only, this dendritic patterns will be there, that it is horizontal sedimentary rocks or massive igneous rocks or metamorphic rocks. Since already I have mentioned that this dendritic pattern is very common in all terrains in and almost all places, in all the three major rock groups you can observe this dendritic pattern. That horizontal sedimentary stratus also you can see this dendritic pattern. Massive igneous rocks also will serve this dendritic pattern, and also finally the metamorphic rocks. So metamorphic rocks, igneous and sedimentary rocks, all the kind of rocks having dendritic, that is the tree-like drainage pattern. Okay. Now let's discuss about the second one, that is trellis drainage pattern. Trellis, as we have already said, you can just see the image. That is, here you can see this dark portion. It is marked as ridges of resistant rock. It is nothing but simply the hard rock which is present in the particular rock. Then here you can see the vacant spaces, whereas this water is flowing. That is actually soft rock. When water starts moving through this soft rock area, what will happen? In last class we discussed about various leaching process. So when water enters to the soft area, the soft materials or soft sediments will be transported, which will leave a place here, which will gradually makes the water to flow through those areas. Okay, that is why here you can see the hard area, then here you can see the soft area. Again there is some remnants of some hard rock, finally soft, then bit hard rock. This is an intermediate of soft and hard rock. Okay, now the pattern which major streams are parallel and short tributaries joins the main stream at nearly right angles. Now here you can see there is not much, or there is no branching like arrangements or nothing, only small streams are present to this river. So also you can see this is almost right angles. All these tributaries you can see, it is not completely but almost all the tributaries you can observe here is nearly right angles. Okay. Then these types of drainage pattern develops in regions containing folded or tilted strata. Yes, then where you can observe this trellis drainage pattern, it is nothing but folded or tilted strata. So now here you can easily understand, that is, if a particular layer or a particular rock is having alternating beds of this soft and hard rock, there you can observe this structural features, that is folding or tilting of stratas. So you can easily correlate, you can easily relate this folding or tilted strata, it will usually have trellis drainage pattern. Okay, and here also you can see the movement of water is demarcated here. Here you can see the movement of water. From all these tributaries, water will be collected to this main stream and it will be moving in this direction. Okay, and you can simply mark the legend. One is the ridges of resistant rock and other you can simply mark it as the soft rock. Okay, now here is another drainage pattern which you can see, that is nothing but the rectangular drainage pattern. Okay, so rectangular drainage pattern, a drainage pattern in which the main streams and their tributaries display many right angle bends and exhibit sections of approximately the same length. Here rectangular, as we have already said before, if a terrain is completely, or if it is a very structural features are very prominent in a terrain, there we can observe this rectangular drainage pattern. And now what is the speciality of this rectangular drainage pattern? It is nothing but here you can see a right angled bends. Here you can see this is the main stream, and here also the water flow, it is demarcated here. Here in this terrain also you can see water is flowing to this direction. Okay, so here also you can see various right angled bend. Here you can see another right angled bend. Here also you can see some right angled bend. Okay, so the tributaries which joins the main stream will be almost right angle. Okay, that is the same thing. And also in this rectangular pattern you can observe that it will be almost the same length. So there won't be any very violent changes of this tributary. It will be almost, tributaries also will be almost same length. Okay. Then it is indicative of streams following prominent fault or joint. So as we have already said, if there is a particular amount or it is very fault or joint is present in a particular rectangular block of rock, this rectangular drainage pattern is being observed. Okay, yeah, that's all about rectangular drainage pattern. Then finally, radial or radiating structure. Okay, so this radial drainage pattern, it is usually observed in dome. Mainly we can say the volcanoes, it will be a dome structure, then in particular domes or this volcanic eruptions or laccolith. These all are having very steep slope. Okay, so in all those areas we can observe this radial drainage pattern. Okay, now here you can see radial drainage pattern. We have already said that from a particular point it is radiating. Okay, from a particular point it is being radiating to different parts. That is what is known as radial drainage pattern. Okay, then the stream radiate outwards from a central high point. Okay, here you can see a central high point is there. From this particular point the water will be moving to various directions. You can see this blue lines, it is the flow of water. So the water is flowing to all these directions, not only in a single channel but also in it shows various tributaries, and the water is moving from this particular point. This is known as radiating structure. Usually volcanoes display excellent radial drainage patterns. Okay, so those areas we can easily observe this radial drainage pattern. Then other geological features on which radial drainage, that we have already said, that is domes and laccolith. So in this domes and laccolith we can easily observe this radial drainage pattern. Okay. Now finally there are two types more. One is centripetal drainage pattern. Centripetal drainage pattern, actually the figure is not shown in the previous slide. Okay, so don't mix your radial and your centripetal. Why? Because both these images, here you can see the centripetal image, both these images are almost same. Okay, that is centripetal means to a central point these tributaries are serving water. That is, here you can see the movement of water, you can see in the arrow, that is to a particular basin there will be a central depression. You can see stream flows to a central depression or a basin. So this is actually a terrain where this is your basin. So in this basin, in the central portion you can see some depressions. What will happen? Water from various directions will be flowing towards this depression, and this tributary serves water to that particular depression. That is known as centripetal drainage system. This is just opposite of radial. Okay, once again I am showing you the radial. Radial in the sense it will be from one point. Okay, one common point will be there. From this common point water is moving to different areas. Okay, from this common point, here you can see this common point. Okay, from this dome or from this common point water is moving towards the different areas. That pattern is known as radial drainage pattern. Here you see from different locations water is moving towards a particular point. Okay, just opposite of radial. Then this is known as centripetal, as the name indicates, centripetal drainage system. Okay, now finally the last type of drainage system, that is parallel drainage system. As you can see in the figure, if the terrain is almost parallel, then we can observe easily parallel drainage system. Okay, here also you can see these all are almost parallel and the flow of water is also indicated here. Okay, that is, it is a type of pattern developed in a terrain containing tilted rock beds and parallel fault. Okay, what all the things that you can observe here? Parallel drainage pattern, that is, it is a type of pattern developed in a terrain containing tilted rock beds and parallel fault. That is, if it is tilted, that is, various structural features obviously will be present in this types of drainage pattern. So what will happen when all these things are developed? What will happen? Drainage pattern also will be in this parallel or the parallel direction. Water also flowing will be like this, which serves for a parallel drainage pattern. The major stream occupies the fault while tributaries which are parallel meet the stream approximately at the same angle. Here also you can see that the major stream, okay, it will be occupied by the fault. The fault, it will be occupied by the major stream and also various tributaries. Okay, various tributaries which are parallel to the stream will meet at the main stream in same level. Almost it will be same level, whereas this tributaries will join to the main stream. Okay. Now I think you can see in this image also, here you can see this is actually a parallel outcrop. Here you can see 1, 2, 3, there are various parallel lines. So water also moving in such a direction will serve the parallel drainage pattern. Okay, so this will be your diagrammatic representation and this will serve as a watershed. Here you can see the blue color mark. So this is actually an area which is being selected for this parallel drainage pattern. Okay, yes, so this is all about various drainage pattern and I hope you guys remember this thing. Okay, thank you.